YouTube land. This is one of my many attempts to make this video. I keep having difficulties. I got a problem with the Explorer, and that's if I can see, I'm looking through the camera through the camera on the phone as I'm trying to talk and record this. It's hard to see there, but there's the differential to the CV axle joint. CV axle runs back air and then comes over. Sorry. You can't even see it. Runs back there and comes over to the wheel, and then on the other side we've got the axle tube, and then it goes to the CV axle there, and it is dripping in the fluid. The gear oil is being flung and it's coming off of here, and it's hitting the ground there. The big puddle, that's from me running the air conditioner with the windows down. I forgot I had it on. This side, it's coming back on the torsion bar, and it's running. I can't even get the view of it. There's torsion bar. Okay. It's hitting that lower control arm mount and dripping off there, but it's also running the whole length of that torsion bar all the way back by the transfer case mount and dripping off all the length of that. And this started after the incident where I lost the fan belt. Man, I'm now laying in a puddle of this stuff, I think. This started like next day or something, but I couldn't tell what was leaking and where it was coming from. Thought it was another steering rack leak. I'll hold this just right, and I get around the differential. You can see back by the transfer case, or between the transfer case and the front of the truck, is a fuel filter tucked up in there. I thought it was a fuel filter leaking and gas running down coming off my transfer case. It wasn't. What it was, and what it is it's this seal's leaking. It's oil sitting there dripping off. The torsion bar is wet all the way back to the mount, so gear oil is going all the way back there. And this side, it's not flinging that far back. It's like flinging it forward, and then it's dripping off there. And I heard my differential whining, and today when I came out, I was able to actually see where it was. Last time we had a day without rain, I gotta check this out before I started working this new job. Could not see it. And so what I've been doing for now, because I have to get parts and I'm going to have to pull things apart and change both those seals, is just for now, because the fill plug's hard to get in at. It's on the side of that front differential. I'd have to be behind the wheel to show you, and on the ground. And I just didn't feel like getting out my 3/8 ratchet and fighting with it, take it out. And the bottle I'm using will not fit in there. You'd have to have a shorter bottle to be able to fit it in there. I don't have, a fluid pump for stuff like this. I used to, but I don't anymore. I used to have one that you'd use the electric drill, and you pump it, and you burn those pumps out after so long. But when you're only doing, a couple quarts here, a couple quarts there a year, those cheap things work good. Anyways, I'll put some of this in here. This is $75.90. I had to call a couple parts stores to find out what it says. My jobber parts store that I depend on the most, I have an Expart login through them. Nextpart just says the capacity in liters. The Ford owner's manual says use Motorcraft 4x4 gear oil. It does not say a weight. It says a weight for the rear differential oil, which is 80W90, and then it says to add limited slip additive if you have limited slip, which this does. This has the Ford track lock. I ran the codes off the door tag years ago when I got this thing, so I know it's a track lock. I know it's 373 rear gears. I know all that stuff. Anyways, ooh, man, thinking I probably need change these front pads. I think I got set. Brand new ones, I think I ended up with. So what I'm doing is that hose there, that's the vent. I took the cap out, and since it's whining in it, well, that's off where I filled the vent. You can see on the other side that leak. That's just from me being home. I'm not going to have the money for seals until my pay comes through on Friday, and that'll be for the first week of 66 hours. So I have to go to this upcoming Friday before I'm going to have the money to be able to buy the parts. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to call the parts house I deal with, which is Wholesale Auto Parts, and I'm going to check the prices and availability, but I'll probably just have them order the stuff that I'm going to need. I had to call a bunch of parts stores to find out that it should be one has a computer that shows it as 75 W90. Now the Ford part number has been superseded. The book has a Ford part number, and then it has a spec number. Well, the spec and the part number have been superseded, and that's 75 140. This is 7590. So on the small side it will be right, but the big side might be off. Yet with something like this, if you're going to drive it leaking and dripping, you better just keep filling it up and have it leak and drip on you than run empty and seize a bearing into a bearing race, or have a bearing, a roller bearing come apart, seize the ring and pinion up, or something like that. This is not a two-wheel drive selectable transfer case. If you take the front drive shaft out, the ring and pinion would still turn anyways, but since there's a differential in that transfer case, if you take that front drive shaft out, chances are it might not move. I'm not positive on that, but I'm not sure if you can actually drive these without the front shaft in. Some all-wheel drive vehicles you cannot. The old 203 full-time cases, if you took the front drive shaft out and you didn't add a part-time kit to that differential, then the front shaft would get all the power even though it was out, and the back shaft would get none. So I don't think you can do that. Plus, this does not have a disconnect on the axle. The ones that have a two-wheel drive setting, they have a collar of some sort and an actuator on the right axle, and it engages and engages the collar, which is what locks in your four-wheel drive or unlocks it. Plus, they also have a two-wheel drive setting in the transfer case that goes ahead and stops sending power to the front drive shaft. This doesn't have that, so I can't just say, well, I'm just not using four-wheel drive, and so that way my ring and pinion will barely turn out, really only turn while I'm turning left. If the left spider gear gets pushed in far enough, I can't do that. I didn't figure out where the leak was until Saturday afternoon after 3, and the stores I needed to talk to get the stuff from, they're already closed anyway. So really, and I have to be at work Sunday at 8, so I've only got so much I can do, and so much time I can do stuff in. So I'm going to have all my stuff lined up, tear this apart, slam things together, do one side at a time too. I can't afford the luxury of doing both at once, and I gotta have everything I need, because if I take it apart and I find out that I don't have something, I don't have a reliable ride to the parts store. That's why I'm kicking myself in the butt for selling that other car, plus the fact that the woman hasn't paid for it and she's trying to hide it. But unfortunately, the money I make working is more than the $80 that she owes me, so I can't miss a day of work. Plus, if I miss a day of work right now, I'll get fired automatically, so I can't do that. I really need Sunday off to go find that car. Today I was just too tired. I fell asleep about 4 in the morning. I watched a video from that Classic Truck Rescue. And I was laughing a little bit because that Camper Special's got it's got the correct trim on the cab, but don't have the correct trim on the bed, and they're going on about 86,000 mile original truck, or 64,000 or 68, something like that. Well, the dang bed's been changed. I can tell that without even enlarging the video. But you know, I know more about those 73 to 87 pickups than a lot of people. Anyways, so here we are. We're looking at the vent tube line. I've put 900, and I got about 525 milliliter left. I'm gonna put a little bit more in there because it's weeping, and drive it someplace tomorrow and see if I can hear that pinion howl, or the ringing pinion howl. I heard them when I came home from work this morning, Saturday morning at 2 a.m. because the Friday night you go in at 6 in the evening, and then they let you off at 2 a.m. unless things start happening and they really need you to stay. So, I only worked like 67 hours this week. And I gotta go back Sunday at 8 in the evening. So, I only got so many hours I can actually do stuff in until I get used to this schedule too. It's killing me on things. I know I'm kind of a rambler here, and I'm kind of rambling, but when it's been raining, and when this leak gradually got worse and worse, I couldn't tell in the rain where it was coming from. It was washing it off in certain places, and especially 30-mile drive home in the rain. The rain's beating it off, and then I'm not seeing where the leak's coming from. I saw the one earlier. I made a video, and then I deleted it because I came back out here and looked at the other side for good measure, and realized, hey, the other leak I'm seeing, that's not my power steering fluid like I thought it was. The power steering leak kind of comes and goes with this rack. It's actually gear oil. There was nothing on the ground I could put my fingers in, and you can sniff your fingers, and gear oil has, even the newer stuff has this odor to it that's unique to gear oil. Hydraulic oil, which is similar to automatic transmission fluid, will have a scent that's sort of like automatic transmission fluid or power steering fluid. Power steering fluid and automatic transmission fluid, the differences in them are the additives in there and the seal preservatives. You cannot just mix and match. There's people on the internet that tell you that. There's also people on the internet that were saying that this thing took everything from 75/90 to 75/140, 80W90, and one guy is saying, because the Aerostar took ATF in the front diff, you used Mercuron in the front diff, that you have to use that in these, or else you'll burn them up. You'll burn up your needle rollers. Okay, first things first. A needle roller bearing does not require automatic transmission fluid. Whoever's starting all these rumors and stuff, they need to just stop. Automatic transmission fluid, if you put it in place of an oil, say a transmission takes straight 30 weight motor oil, or it takes 5 weight motor oil even, and I know there's one that uses lightweight motor oil, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long and my brain's so cooked. But anyways, there's one that uses a lightweight motor oil in it, and we had one that used a lighter oil. It wasn't gear oil. It was either 50 or 30 weight oil, and it was in a commercial truck, and then one employee, when he serviced it, put automatic transmission fluid in there. And about 1,500 miles later, that transmission locked up. It did not have the lubrication it needed, and it cost a lot of money to get another one. My phone's telling me my battery's done for again, YouTube land. This is getting long. Anyways, never, ever put automatic transmission fluid in something until you verify that's the correct fluid. Never, ever. Because when you're sitting on the side of the road with something blown up because of it, you'll curse the person that told you to put automatic transmission fluid in there. And don't ever, put automatic transmission fluid in your power steering pump. It does not have the stuff for your steering rack or your steering gearbox. It does not have the stuff needed for your pump. You will end up burning out the seals in the pump. You will burn the bearings out of your pump. You will destroy things. Now, there's some power steering systems that were made for Mercron, and that's okay. If it says it's made for it, use it. This here, the Ford book, the owner's manual has some outdated part numbers in there. It says use Ford 4x4 front axle lubricant. Well, I've called stores and nobody sells that here. They're the discount stores. And the one that told me what the oil was going to be, they have their semi-synthetic store brand. It was $11.99 plus tax. Well, I went to my favorite store, the Rural King. They had this brand here. It's synthetic blend for a quart. I want to say this is a $5.99. Now, if they would have had it in their store brand, which is Harvest King, the Harvest King gear oils are like $2.99. Why should I go to O'Reilly's and pay for, $11.99 for something I can get someplace else for less? Although I do think the guy at O'Reilly's, the woman at Advance was too ignorant to look it up on her computer. The guy at AutoZone couldn't do it. He told me to just come in and look at what they had on the shelf. The guy at O'Reilly's actually looked it up in his computer and found the specs for me. So I have to thank him for that. But I'm not going to pay an outrageous price for this stuff. Okay, I'm getting off here now. Later, YouTube land.